I asked that you ask so I could answer. So here we go with your 10 best questions. Alright everybody, let's get into the 10 best questions, but before we do, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit those alerts, so that way you know every time one of these things goes live. And if you have any other questions or life ponderings, check me out in the Twitch chat. I'm on there every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Ask me whatever the hell you want. But today, we are getting into your questions, and without further ado, let's get right into it. I asked you the other night, what is the best question you have? Nothing is off limits. We got serious, we got silly, and let's start with question number 1. Fake Vader Time asks, which Gilbert and Sullivan operetta is the most overrated? Pinafore, please. Adam Bold asks, what would be your perfect day off? Me spending time with my lovely wife. Either doing something really fun or, more likely than not, after 8 years on the road, doing absolutely nothing. Probably watching trashy reality television. Brad T. Hey, Mr. Man. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Man? What is the worst rental car you ever got stuck with? That's a tough one, but man, there was the time, I believe it was in Seattle, Washington, where it was winter. And Seattle doesn't get a lot of snow, and when they do, it sucks. And I was in, the only car they had was this little, I don't even remember the exact car, but it was a small, Nissan car, not like a good Nissan, like a crappy little 4-cylinder Nissan that was spinning all over the place. It was probably one of the worst rental car experiences I've ever had. Boo, Seattle, Tacoma International Airport, boo. WrestleScope TV asks, if you could step into the wrestling ring with anyone tonight, who would you want to face? Mustafa Ali. He's a buddy, he's a friend. I think he's somebody who really, really gets wrestling more than even a lot of wrestlers. And we've never had the chance to actually wrestle one-on-one or tag team situation or anything. And he's a great guy and a great mind for the business. So I think we could tell a really great story and just have a badass match with two Chicago brothers. Ed Fries asked, what idea you thought wouldn't work actually worked out the best? I mean, God, you guys all know the answer to this. Rusev Day. I don't even know what it was supposed to be. It didn't seem like it was supposed to be anything. But you guys turned it into the biggest thing of 2017, 2018. It was not intended to be anything long term. We didn't think it would be anything long term. But the audience, you guys, made it into something magical. Stack of Mistakes asks, what inspired you to become a wrestler? I mean, God, it's such a loaded question. Watching as a kid growing up, I didn't get to watch it as early as a lot of other kids did. So I didn't see, Raw or Nitro in the 90s or the early 90s or 80s or anything like that. No, I came into it at the end of the 90s, but right in that heat of the Attitude Era there. And it was exciting. And watching people like Shawn Michaels do incredible things. And then I always tell people this too, watching people like Mick Foley, who showed me that you didn't have to be, for lack of a better term, a bodybuilder on a ton of drugs to follow your dream and make it come true, even in a crazy business like wrestling. So I appreciate watching people like that, people who just loved the entertainment, loved the sport, and followed their passion. And so even more than all the other wrestlers combined, I think Mick Foley and watching his story really inspired me to get it done and to be able to really do it. Beardy, Gamer Shane, what's going on, man? Good to see you from the Twitch chat. If you were able to book your own storyline, would you have yourself lose in the end or win? This seems like a loaded question. Like you put this to a wrestler, and of course they're gonna book themselves a win, right? The old Dusty Rhodes way, baby. Book yourself on top. It's your territory, right? No, for me, spending most of my career as a heel, I think I booked myself to lose. I'm better at putting myself in that position and finding a way to make someone else come out on top and make them look better. I'm like, how can we bring someone in? I'll keep myself strong. I make myself look good and powerful and compelling, but I want somebody to overcome that. And I want to find a way to make them look as good as possible. That's just the philosophy that I've always worked with the best, and I'm uncomfortable. I like making myself look good when I can, but I'm uncomfortable with like, yep, I'm on top. That sounded weird, but I'm uncomfortable putting myself in that kind of a position. I'd rather make somebody else be more enhanced, make somebody else's story or character look better in the end. Phil Jaros asked, what is your favorite whiskey or bourbon that you can get at your average grocery store? That's a really good question. Most liquor stores have a decent, selection of basic bourbons, but grocery stores can be really hit or miss with whiskey. But I have found most grocery stores will have something like an Elijah Craig. It's fantastic. It's $30. It's really well-made whiskey. I would say Buffalo Trace, but I know there are several states and territories where it's hard to even find that, even though that's like the most basic product to come out of the Buffalo Trace distillery. So Elijah Craig seems to be pretty much everywhere, at least here in America, and even on grocery store shelves. Great price, great whiskey. Indie Gamer Zinthus, what's going on, man? If you could have a dream match against any one wrestler, past or present, who would it be? So I'll take this kind of different from the question before. Like, who would you wrestle tonight? That would be my good buddy Mustafa Ali, because he's here, he's now. But I'll take this as kind of like from the past, any legend from the past. Probably Shawn Michaels. I mean, it's insane how good he is, and I was lucky enough to even have a conversation with him in a car one time coming back from NXT UK. We spent about an hour just chatting NXT UK and wrestling in general. It was incredible. So him for sure in his prime, in his active years, but also even going back to people, like I always have this really great spot, kind of soft spot for Nick Bockwinkel from like the AWA days, man. I thought he had such a great character, great look, great wrestler. And so from someone from a even further bygone era, that's someone who I'd like to work with or against in some capacity. Guys, thank you so much. Awesome questions. Ran the gamut on that one. Maybe we'll do this again. If you wanted to ask more questions, hit up in the chat below. Comment on if you want to see more of these, or you can always tweet me at Drama King Matt on Twitter, and we will get back to it. Questions answered.